that white is a state of mind.
Okay.
You know.
I won't argue that. On a certain level, because I tend to be parochial, for one thing, and I tend to care about Afro-Americans, which I would define as the sons and daughters of slaves and slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have.
That doesn't, by the way, sound very parochial to me.
It's very parochial because I don't care about my third-row brothers and sisters and things like that I'm sure I should. But as we...
You mean you're responsible for a certain situation?
I just can't deal with it.
Yes, I know.
think that if everybody dealt with their own little situation,
yes.
if I deal with my block and you deal with your block, we'll have two good...
And Malcolm said that too.
Yeah. So when we deal with white as being like a state of... Well, Malcolm said everything, which I would grant.
No,
I mean,
really?
he encompassed. But as we begin to try to deal, you know what I mean, with the world, we find that a lot of things break down. And we find that frequently a white face goes with a white mind. Mm-hmm. Occasionally, a black face goes with a white mind. Mm-hmm. Very seldom, a white face will have a black mind. But we find the frequent situation is a white face has a white mind.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? So for the few mistakes that you would make, it's unfortunate.
No, I know.
You know,
I wouldn't.
To me, it's unfortunate.
I wouldn't argue that at all.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't argue that at all. You know, it doesn't make any difference to me. As I said once somewhere, you know, that a cop is a cop.
Well, cops are white.
And you know, and he may be a very nice man, but I haven't got the time to figure that out. You know, all I know is he's got a uniform and a gun. You know, and I have to relate to him that way. You know, really that's the only way to relate to him at all. Because one of us is, you know, one of us may have to die.
One of us, you know, in New York, there's a big campaign going on to humanize the policeman, and they have billboards upstate, and they have a picture of a big cop bending over this little blonde girl. Mm-hmm. And the sign say, and some people call him Pig. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to buy a billboard. I told a friend of mine, I want to buy a billboard and show this big cop and this 14-year-old kid with 30 bullets in him and saying some people call him Peacemaker. You know?
You ought to do one thing. One thing Lorraine Hansberry said, get this photograph. When we had that famous meeting with Bobby Kennedy, Lorraine said to Bobby, who was also dead.
Everybody's dead.
You know. Lorraine said to Bobby, in answer to something about black manhood, Jerome Smith had been talking about black men. And Lorraine said she wasn't worried about black men because they'd done very well, all things considered. She was very proud of them. But she told Bobby, she said, I'm very upset about the state of that civilization which produced that photograph of that white cop in Birmingham standing on that black woman's neck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What does that say for white manhood? But again, that's a moral position.
Well,
you follow what I mean by
yeah,
moral?
I do.
That means that we're on top of the situation by being on bottom. And many of us would like to see it the other way around.
I'm not quite that romantic, or even if you want to use the word moral, quite that moral. I simply know, I think I know. You know, look, I'm not a financier. You know, I'm not a banker. I'm not a practical man, so to speak. You know, and what I am. And I know the choices I've had to make in my own life to be able to shave in the morning, to look myself in the face in the morning. Now, I'm not so moral as to sit here and say that if somebody had a gun pointed at my brother's head, that I would pray for him. You know, I'm not about to tell you, you know, that
Excuse me.
that I'm lighting candles every day and every night for the soul of J. Edgar Hoover. You know,
Yeah,
on one level, I'm not moral at all. I don't care what happens to Hoover and all his tribe. At all. But I do care what happens to you. You know. And if I am moral, which I don't really think I am, but no, it's a word you keep bringing up.
I can't find another word for it.
I know. But the relationship between morality and power is a very subtle one. You know, because power, ultimately, with no morality, is not any longer power. You cannot call Spain a powerful nation. You can't call Franco a powerful man. He's got a whole nation in jail. But that's not power.
No.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know.
His game isn't running.
Precisely. Now, when our game starts running, and after all, baby, we have survived the roughest game in the history of the world.
Yeah.
You know, we really have. No matter what we say against ourselves, you know, no matter what our limits and hang-ups are, you know, we have come through something, you know. And if we can get this far, we can get further.